We've all been there, right? You're driving down the highway, making amazing time, and then, boom, you hit a wall of brake lights. Bumper-to-bumper traffic. You inch forward, finally passing this endless sea of orange cones that seem to have just multiplied overnight, and you kind of can't help but wonder, why on earth do these road projects take forever? Well, today, we're going to completely change how you look at that traffic jam. Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to use the exact data that civil engineering pros use to uncover the hidden obstacle course of highway construction. We'll map out exactly what goes wrong, why it happens, and how project managers actually survive it.
To really wrap your head around the sheer scale and, frankly, the chaos of building a massive highway, you first have to realize that every single infrastructure project is broken down into exactly 3 chronological, high-stakes phases. It's not just about showing up and pouring concrete. It's a meticulously staged process from the initial drawing board all the way to painting that final white line.
And hiding across those 3 phases are exactly 21 hidden risk checkpoints. Think of them as 21 specific traps, invisible landmines, or totally unpredictable wildcards. And these aren't just minor hiccups. They have the very real power to completely derail the entire operation, literally costing millions of dollars and adding years to a schedule.
But thankfully, there is a way to manage all this chaos. Everything we're looking at today is synthesized into one ultimate, field-ready checklist. This single tool is essentially what keeps these mammoth projects from just driving right off a cliff.
Okay, so here is our agenda for this explainer. We'll start with the highway risk checklist, then dive into Phase 1 planning risks, tackle Phase 2 construction risks, face Phase 3 external threats, and finally, look at surviving the obstacle course. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Highway Risk Checklist.
So this structured checklist acts as our map for uncovering risks across the entire project lifecycle. It tracks activities and conditions that commonly introduce risk across the design, construction, and delivery of highway infrastructure. When you're managing a project of this magnitude, you absolutely cannot just rely on memory or guesswork. You need a structured framework that accounts for the 3 project phases and tracks all 21 of those risk checkpoints in one centralized, field-ready guide. It's basically the ultimate survival guide for civil engineers.
Section 2. Phase 1. Planning risks.
All right, so this is the pre-construction and design phase. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that the activities during planning, surveying, and designing act as invisible landmines. If they aren't handled correctly right at the very beginning, before a single shovel even hits the dirt, they create massive downstream risks that will blow up the schedule months or sometimes even years later.
Notice how bureaucratic red tape, like pending environmental clearances from forest, wildlife, or pollution boards, can hold up a project before it even starts, especially when you combine that with land acquisition and right-of-way delays, where unacquired stretches literally stall mobilization. Now, contrast that bureaucracy with financial and logistical blind spots. Say you have unmapped utility relocations. The unplanned shifting of power, water, or telecom lines will absolutely shatter your schedule. And if you have inaccurate cost estimations because you relied on unrealistic rate assumptions, you're going to severely strain the project budget right out of the gate.
This creates a brutal domino effect. If a team skips adequate soil and geotechnical investigations, or maybe they just push forward with incomplete drawings, you end up discovering those design gaps mid-construction. That leads directly to major rework, severe delays, and crippling cost overruns. A shortcut on paper today is, for sure, a total disaster in the dirt tomorrow.
Section 3. Phase 2. Construction risks. Now, we are completely moving away from blueprints and theory. We're dealing with tangible execution risks out on the active work site. In this phase, every single activity creates direct risks to quality, safety, and the project schedule. The pressure is really on here.
Imagine the active worksite just breaking down piece by piece. It usually starts with poor material quality control. Using substandard bitumen, aggregate, or cement fundamentally compromises the pavement's lifespan. Add to that equipment breakdowns, leaving paving, compaction, and earth-moving crews just sitting idle, literally burning money by the hour. And hey, even if the equipment works perfectly, a shortage of trained labor severely raises both rework and defect rates.
And, these issues quickly build into escalating steps of worksite failure.
Step 1. Delays in structures like bridges, culverts, and drainage hold up the overall progress. Basically, everything hits a bottleneck. Step 2. Subcontractor non-performance. Weak oversight creates a cascade effect, spreading those delays across multiple work fronts. And finally, Step 3, which is probably the most critical, unsafe work practices. Missing personal protective equipment and poor worksite traffic control immediately raise the risk of catastrophic accidents on site.
Moving on to Section 4, Phase 3, External Threats.
Now, this phase represents the true wild cards. We're talking about environmental, external, and contractual conditions that are entirely outside of the direct control of the site managers. But make no mistake, they still pose massive threats to the project's cost, time, and, most importantly, safety.
Let's look at some of these uncontrollable natural and social forces. You have adverse weather and monsoon flooding. Heavy seasonal rain can instantly halt earthwork and just completely wash away or damage incomplete formations. Then you have outright force majeure and natural calamities, unpredictable stuff like earthquakes, landslides, or major floods that disrupt the schedule far beyond anyone's control. But it's not just nature, right? It's also local community and landowner opposition. Sudden protests or law and order issues can completely disrupt site access and destroy any work continuity.
Then there are the external human-caused threats. Over on the contractual side, something as simple as an ambiguous project scope can trigger massive legal delays and arbitration. On the physical side, you face active hazards like third-party utility damage. An accidental strike on a buried cable or pipeline halts work immediately and piles on the legal liability. And we absolutely can't forget traffic accidents at active work zones. Poor diversion signage isn't just a minor inconvenience, it actively endangers the lives of both the construction workers and the passing traffic.
Finally, Section 5, Surviving the Obstacle Course.
So, to bring it all back to the beginning, building a highway is a massive, incredibly complex endeavor. But for the professionals managing this chaos, survival really comes down to synthesizing everything into one cohesive strategy. They have to navigate those 3 distinct phases, constantly monitor for all 21 specific risks, and anchor their entire project on that one critical checklist. It really is a daily battle against bureaucracy, nature, and human error.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you're stuck in traffic, slowly rolling past a sea of orange cones and heavy machinery, take a look around. Which of the 21 hidden risks do you think you're driving past right at that very moment? Is it an unmapped utility line, a delayed subcontractor, or maybe an impending monsoon? It kind of completely changes how you view the road, doesn't it? Keep learning, keep observing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.